The moment has already passed. You think you're deciding based on logic. You're not. You're already downstream of a preference that formed before the facts arrived, and by the time you notice it, the leverage is gone. Most people believe bias shows up as stupidity, loud errors, bad math, obvious manipulation. That's not how this one works. This one hides inside friendliness, comfort, familiarity. It wears trust like camouflage. The cost doesn't announce itself. You don't lose in a blow-up. You lose in concessions, in softer terms, in choices that feel reasonable at the time. You give ground without realizing it was yours to hold. This is how deals tilt, how promotions slip away, how bad partners stay longer than they should, how mediocre operators keep access they didn't earn. You assume liking someone makes the situation safer. You assume warmth reduces risk. You assume disliking someone makes them dangerous. The opposite is usually true. When you like someone, you stop checking incentives. You stop protecting position. You explain instead of waiting. You commit instead of testing. And the damage compounds quietly, because nothing feels wrong in the moment, until you look back and realize the terms were never neutral. And the first mistake is the one nobody sees coming. This is liking bias, not as a concept, as a leverage distortion that turns emotional comfort into strategic blindness, as the reason people concede position to those who feel familiar, friendly, or on their side. You like them. They're easy to talk to, they feel reasonable, so you stop validating what they say. In meetings, you nod instead of probing. In negotiations, you accept framing instead of testing assumptions. In relationships, you interpret signals generously. The leverage leak happens here. Verification is replaced with comfort. Who benefits? The person who doesn't have to prove anything anymore. It feels harmless because nothing breaks immediately. The tone stays pleasant, the interaction stays smooth. Later, you realize the foundation was never solid. By then, reversing costs you more than it should. Comfort is the most expensive shortcut. You don't want to seem difficult. You don't want to disrupt rapport. So you soften objections. You phrase disagreement as questions. You delay hard boundaries. You let small things slide to preserve goodwill. The other side learns something important. Resistance will be gentle. They benefit because pressure can increase without triggering a response. At first, it feels like professionalism, like emotional intelligence. Later, it becomes a pattern where your niceness defines the limits of what you'll defend. Once politeness replaces firmness, position erodes quietly. Because you like them, you assume good faith. You focus on what they say they want, not what they gain. You believe alignment exists because conversation feels aligned. This is where incentives disappear from your analysis. Who benefits? Anyone whose goals diverge from yours, but don't want friction. It feels safe because nothing sounds hostile. No one is aggressive. The cost shows up when outcomes consistently favor them and explanations arrive afterward. Intentions don't move outcomes. Incentives do. Liking creates a false urgency to be open. You explain your constraints, you reveal your thinking. You share timelines, pressures, preferences. You call it transparency. They call it information. This is signal leakage disguised as honesty. The beneficiary is obvious. The party who now knows how to pace you, anchor you, or wait you out. It feels constructive in the moment, like collaboration. Later, you notice they never share the same depth back. Information given early is leverage surrendered permanently. You don't want to stall. You don't want to overthink. So you move quickly. You respond fast. You decide sooner than necessary. You lock in terms to keep things flowing. Speed feels respectful. It's not. Speed favors the person who already knows what they want. You feel relief because the decision is made. The cost appears when flexibility disappears and adjustments require renegotiation. Momentum is not neutral. It usually favors the prepared. You've worked together before, you've talked often, you share language, so you assume balance. But familiarity doesn't equal symmetry. Power can still be uneven. Stakes can still differ. They benefit because the environment feels informal while outcomes remain formal. It feels stable, predictable, until you realize the structure never changed, only your vigilance did. Familiarity lowers defenses, not risk. Most people think liking someone reduces danger. Operators know it reduces alertness. Most people think trust is built by openness. Operators know trust is tested by restraint. This isn't about being right. It's about not being cornered. Control comes from optionality, not intensity. And optionality requires withholding until leverage is clear. Speed favors the trapped. Delay favors the positioned. When you like someone, you don't need to become cold. You need to become slower. Slower to explain. Slower to agree. Slower to commit. Warmth does not require concession. Respect does not require exposure. The shift is simple but uncomfortable. Treat comfort as a signal to increase scrutiny, not reduce it. The more pleasant the interaction, the more disciplined your positioning must be. Because the cleanest leverage losses happen without conflict. Most people overshare with managers they like. They explain challenges. They reveal doubts. They preemptively justify decisions. This weakens them because evaluation environments reward outcomes, not context. What to do instead? Answer what's asked. Deliver results. Let silence carry weight in performance reviews. Delay explanations. Let the other side speak first. Silence forces them to reveal criteria. Talking early only reveals insecurity. In negotiations, liking creates premature alignment. Prices get justified instead of tested. Terms get accepted to preserve rapport. Leverage shifts when one side commits emotionally before terms stabilize. What to do instead? Slow the timeline. Ask for structure. Separate friendliness from agreement. Information asymmetry wins deals. Not chemistry. Liking increases tolerance for boundary erosion. Messages answered too fast. Access given too freely. Disrespect reframed as misunderstanding. This creates emotional leverage for the other side. What to do instead? Withdraw slightly when comfort increases. Let patterns reveal themselves. Engagement is a resource. Use it selectively. Comfort is not clearance. Delay when things feel easy. Never trade rapport for position. Warmth does not require disclosure. Speed reveals pressure. Silence tests alignment. If you like them, verify more. Liking bias doesn't make you naive. It makes you predictable. It shifts your behavior before you notice the shift occurred. By the time outcomes arrive, the decisions are already locked. The disciplined operator doesn't eliminate liking. They compartmentalize it. They keep position clean while tone stays civil. They let others feel close without becoming exposed. Because leverage isn't lost in conflict. It's lost in comfort. If you're still watching, thank you for your attention.
Thanks for spending time with us. If this sparked a new way of thinking, hit like and subscribe to keep the ideas flowing. And don't forget, check the description for the links to the original books and resources we used today. We'll see you in the next one.